Good morning to all. Hello to everyone joining today's webinar. Mr. Junaid Tantre, and as a co-convener of this event, I am delighted to welcome such a diverse and engaged audience. Your participation greatly enriches our discussions and underscores our shared commitment to advancing in our respective fields. I look forward for the productive conversation and collective learning as we embark on this educational journey together. SPSR is distinguished for its engaging webinars, further enhancing its status as a leading platform for continuous professional development in pharmaceutical sector. I am confident that today's webinar will uphold its reputation and tradition of excellence, providing valuable insights from our respected speaker. Let's seize this chance to gain new knowledge, participate actively, and progress our field. Welcome once again, everyone. We are gathered here to commemorate the 83rd SPSR International Webinar on Global Drug Development, Trends, Challenges, and Opportunities, a distinguished event hosted by Society of Pharmaceutical Sciences and Research under the shared guidance, esteemed guidance of Dr. Shashi Alok sir, National President SPSR. The Society continues to play a pivotal role for fostering innovation and advancement in pharmaceutical sciences. The SPSR is devoted to advancing the pharmaceutical field through a variety of strategies. Our mission is to organize conferences that support pharmacy-related initiatives and endorse programs tackling public health issues, particularly in India, focusing on disease prevention. We make it a priority that we recognize and honor pharmacists whose notable contributions drive progress in our field, ensuring a steady and robust exchange of information about pharmaceutical practices and services. By striving towards these objectives, we aim to elevate the quality and impact of pharmacy profession, fostering a proactive and collaborative community dedicated to excellence. It's a great privilege to introduce Mr. Gurpreet Singh, sir, Vice President and Managing Director, Integrated Safety, IQVIA, Nottingham, UK, as a distinguished speaker. Mr. Gurpreet sir's expertise greatly contributes to our event, providing substantial knowledge and insights. His participation is certainly to enrich our discussions and expand our knowledge exploration on global drug development. We are grateful for his engagement and anticipate an enlightening session, sir. It's a privilege to introduce Mrs. Monika Sabharwal, ma'am, as a convener of today's webinar, who also serves as a founder and national secretary of SPSR and CEO SPSR periodicals. Her significant involvement and leadership in the pharmaceutical sciences and research are indicative of her commitment to the field. We are grateful to have her guidance in today's session also. I'm pleased to invite Mrs. Monika Sabharwal, ma'am, to warmly welcome our distinguished guest speaker, Mr. Gurpreet Singh, sir. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Mr. Judith Tantre. Hello, everyone. I am Monika Sabharwal, the convener of 83rd SPSR International Webinar on Global Drug, Global Drug Development, Trends, Challenges, and Opportunities. It is my honor and privilege to welcome you all to this very insightful session organized by Society of Pharmaceutical Sciences and Research SPSR. We are delighted to have today Mr. Gurpreet Singh, the Vice President and the Managing Director, Integrated Safety, IQVIA, Nottingham, United Kingdom, as our esteemed speaker. With his vast experience in the pharmaceutical safety and the global drug development, he will provide us with the valuable insights into the latest trends, challenges, and opportunities that are shaping the pharmaceutical industry. This webinar had received an overwhelming response with more than 2,400 registrations from over 20 countries. This level of participation is a testament to the growing interest in the pharmaceutical advancements and the impact of SPSR in fostering the global knowledge exchange for all of us. As we celebrate the 83rd International Webinar, we reflect on this incredible journey we have had so far, the continuous support from our audience, and the positive feedback we receive through the various platforms, and the ever growing engagement in these webinars inspire us to keep moving forward with the dedication and the passion. SPSR is dedicated to enhance the pharmacy profession by hosting such webinars that address a diverse array of topics selected by the audience input. Our aim is to provide students, researchers, and the professionals with the valuable insights from the leading experts in the pharmaceutical industry. In addition to the webinars, SPSR has recently organized a career expo in collaboration with the Sagar Institute of Pharmacy and Technology, Bhopal, Madhya Pradesh, India, providing the pharmacy students with a career guidance and industry exposure. Moving forward, SPSR aims to collaborate with the industry leaders to organize similar events that will benefit the students and make a meaningful impact on the society. SPSR is also actively collaborating with the pharmaceutical institutions to organize national and international conferences. This year, we have received an excellent response from the institutions willing to partner with us for the future initiatives. We are immensely grateful for the growing engagement of SPSR social media platforms, where we continue to share the knowledge and updates to our audience. A very heartfelt thank to all the professionals, students, researchers who have joined the SPSR membership. Your support strengthens our mission, and we encourage more of you to become the part of this thriving community. If you are interested in the joining the SPSR membership, please visit our official website. SPSR also invites the national and international institutions to collaborate, sign MOUs, and engage in the future activities. Interested institutions can fill out the proposal form given on the official website. Additionally, we encourage our audience to suggest the topics and the speakers for the upcoming webinars. Your feedback plays a very crucial role in ensuring that our sessions remain relevant, engaging, and impactful always. Our weekly Sunday webinars have become a platform for learning, networking, and discussion, attracting the professionals and students worldwide. By continuously collaborating with the experts from the different countries, we aim to provide a global perspectives of the pharmaceutical research and advancements going on. Through our dedication and the hard work, SPSR strives to bridge the knowledge gap and create the opportunity for learning and the professional growth for all. We hope that today's session will be informative, thought provoking, and beneficial to our participants. Before we begin, I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to our National President, Dr. Shashi Alok. His visionary leadership had played a vital role in the remarkable transformation of the SPSR. I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks for the significant contributions made by Mr. Junaid Tantre, the co-convener of this webinar, and the organizing committee members, Dr. Saurabh Kose, Dr. Pradeep Golani, Dr. Sanjay Nagdev, Mr. Ankur Agarwal, and Mr. Rishabh Bhanot. Their tireless efforts have played a crucial role in transforming of this event into a reality. You can join the SPSR vibrant community of over 50,000 pharma professionals actively engaging across LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and WhatsApp. Let's connect, learn, and grow with the top tier webinars and very exclusive content every time. Do not miss out this unparalleled opportunity to elevate your pharmacy practice. Stay updated by subscribing to SPSR YouTube channel and enabling the notification bell icon for instant alerts. Follow our journey in advancing the pharmaceutical sciences for the societal benefit. Once again, I extend my gratitude to our esteemed speaker, our incredible audience, and entire SPSR team for their tremendous efforts they have made every time. Let's now begin today's session on global drug development, trends, challenges, and opportunity, and gain the valuable insights into this evolving pharmaceutical landscape. Over to you, Mr. Junaid Tantre.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Monika Sabharwal, ma'am, for granting me the opportunity to present this webinar. So, by moving forward, I'll go through guest profile. Mr. Gurpreet Singh sir is a seasoned pharmaceutical professional with 20 years of experience in the pharma industry, specializing in global drug development and pharmacovigilance operations. Currently, he serves as a vice president and managing director, integrated safety at IQVIA, based in UK. Throughout his career, Gurpreet has held leadership roles in some of the world's topmost pharmaceutical and life science companies, including Cognizant, Tata Consultancy, Novartis, and Parexel. At Novartis, he was the global head of PV operations, managing all the global pharmacovigilance activities, while at Parexel, he served as senior director PV operations, overseeing pharmacovigilance projects for leading global pharmaceutical and biotech companies. A certified Six Sigma and project management professional, Dr. Gurpreet sir has a deep interest in digital transformation and organizational culture. He has successfully led various high-impact projects focused on enhancing operational efficiency, compliance, and innovation in global drug safety and development. Beyond his corporate achievements, Gurpreet sir is a recognized speaker at international pharmaceutical conferences and a passionate advocate for advancing pharmacovigilance practices throughout technology and process optimization. An avid runner, he believes in continuous learning and driving change in the evolving landscape of pharmaceutical industry. It's with a great satisfaction and pride that we declare that we have exceeded 2,300 registrants globally, showcasing an impressive diversity of countries. Significant attendance is noted from nations include India, Ethiopia, Ghana, Kenya, KSA, Malaysia, Nepal, Nigeria, Oman, Pakistan, Philippines, Saudi Arabia, Syria, UAE, Uganda, and USA. We are really deeply moved by the substantial and varied responses we have garnered. So our heartfelt gratitude is extended to each person who have taken time and a moment to participate in this significant event. So thank you for all once again joining us today. Let's make this webinar an insightful and enriching experience for everyone involved. We have our esteemed keynote speaker with us, Mr. Gurpreet Singh sir, with welcome, sir. Your insights
Thank,
would be highly valuable, and I would appreciate, sir, if you could present now with your speech. Over to you, sir.
thank you, Dr. Junaid. Am I audible? Am I audible? Yeah, great. Okay.
Of course, sir.
So first of all, thank you, Dr. Shashi, Dr. Monika, and Dr. Junaid for really inviting me for this session. I am really looking forward to, presenting my thoughts on what's happening from a global drug development perspective. Dr. Junaid, if you can just check, if you are able to see my slides.
Of course, sir, we can do it on a full screen. Yes, it's totally visible, sir. Please continue.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. So, I think all of you are aware what global drug development is. It's just about not only about developing a product to the market, but also making sure that, we are getting safe and effective products to the market. Now, there's a lot of work that goes into developing a drug, right from identification of the candidate. And a pharma company or a CRO typically has a lot of activities beyond just the marketing of the drug. And I wanted to cover today briefly what are the trends, challenges, and opportunities in this space. As already introduced by Mr. Junaid, I have been in this space for about 20 years. This is my 20th year actually. And during this, I have had the opportunity to look at drug development from various angles. Very initial part of my career, I worked in the IT-enabled organizations who are really supporting the large pharma, small pharma in drug development. Then I got the opportunity to work with a global pharma like Novartis, who is the sponsor of all of these drug development activities. And I had an opportunity to work with global organization, working with different countries, different people, right from US to Europe to Japan. And then right now I've been working more in the CRO space over the last 5 years, first with Parexel and now with IQVIA, where I'm responsible for activities from a regional perspective and from a global perspective. So from that perspective, I will share my views and what I can see as trends happening in the drug development space over the last 20 years. Let's get on to the discussion. So if you look at it, the process of developing a drug, right from preclinical research to marketing, takes approximately 12 to 18 years. And as most of you would know, it costs significantly high. On an average, it costs more than $1 billion. Now, if you look at some of the top pharmaceutical companies based on the R&D spending and the amount of money that they are spending, companies like Roche, Johnson and Johnson, Merck, Pfizer, and Novartis, they are spending almost 15 to 20% of their annual revenue into R&D, which essentially shows that this industry is growing in the sense of pharma companies significantly investing in drug development, not only for the treatment of diseases which are affecting a large population, but of late there is also a lot of investment in areas where there are health related diseases, or even for that matter rare diseases. So companies focus continues in terms of investing in drug development, and these are some of the top companies that are investing in that space. If you look at the global CRO, the clinical research organization market, it is approximately about 76.6 billion as of 2023, and by the end of this decade we expect to be somewhere around $130 billion, which is a significant growth as far as clinical research is concerned. Again, brings in the message that drug development continues to grow as a business, because it's an important area where we are really looking at how we could come up with newer molecules faster to the market, which can help us to really help patients. Now, some of the key players in the contract research organization, I would say the top five, are more companies like IQVIA, LabCorp, Parexel, Icon, Seniors Health, who are really continuing to contribute on to the CRO space. There are many others, but I just mentioned a few over here. And they play an important role because at the end of the day, drug development is not something that a pharma company does alone. A pharma company really utilizes the services of the contract research organization to be able to expedite drug development and also look at how they could do it in a more financially viable way. Now, there's an important role that IT companies play. Now, companies like Accenture, TCS, Cognizant, Wipro, HCL, they not only help from a technology perspective, but they also play an important role as far as services are concerned, as well as far as the help that the pharma industry requires from a operations perspective. So there is a key element that the IT enabled organizations play. And then there are some niche service players, who support several parts of global drug development. And in my subsequent slides, you're going to see there are various elements within drug development. So there are companies which are supporting specific areas within the drug development and may not necessarily be working on the overall drug development process. Now, if you look at the data, it says that since 2004, the average cost of bringing a new drug to market has actually increased significantly. Now, this is very interesting. While the entire industry is trying to get drugs faster to the market with reducer cost, the data clearly shows that actually the cost has increased. And there is obviously reasons beyond the industry's control. But the focus that the pharma companies continue to have is how can we really expedite drug development, ensuring the safety, ensuring the proper clinical trial process, but at the same time also looking at how we could manage the cost of getting a drug to the market more effectively. So there's a lot of focus that continues to happen there. Now, if you look at the drug development landscape, a few years back when I started my career in the industry, the focus was more on blockbuster drugs, a drug which could actually generate $1 billion of revenue, which could help a large population set. But of late, the trend is more about how can we have more inclusive, patient-centered, and even for that matter, drugs which could help, solve issues related to rare diseases and healthcare and health style benefits. So there is a lot of change in how the drug development is operating now as compared to the last 20 years. Now, I'm sure all of you know that to get a successful drug to the market, it has to go through five main stages, which include drug discovery, development, the preclinical research, the clinical trials, a very important element being regulatory approval, because obviously at the end of the day, if we want to market the product in different parts of the world, the health authority of those countries need to approve it. And then there is a very important element of patient safety, which is really post market monitoring, ensuring that the drugs which are marketed in the various parts of the world are safe for the patients. And the data clearly shows that North America continues to be the largest in terms of the patent inventorship, but European nations are also picking up in terms of the overall inventions, and Asian countries are accounting for about more than 7% at this point of time. So it's fairly distributed, but obviously North America continues to be the largest. Here is a quick graph on top pharmas by the 2024 pipeline size. If you look at it, most of the top pharma have invested significantly as far as the drug development is concerned. If you look at companies like Roche, Pfizer, AstraZeneca, they have more than 150 molecules in development. Many of these will actually be launched over the next 5-10 years, which clearly shows that pharma companies have a healthy pipeline, and pharma companies continue to expand their pipeline. In one of my subsequent slides, I'll talk about how they expand their pipeline and how they are investing significantly in molecules which could help treatment of diseases and help patients in a better way. I will not spend time on clinical research. I'm assuming all of you know what clinical research is. The most important element that I want to bring out is global drug development follows the concepts that, various protocols and various clinical research organizations put together, which essentially is about ensuring that, we follow the process, we follow the standard operating procedures, and we deliver on the quality and compliance that's required. And if you look at it, uh, in a typical pharma organization, global drug development has multiple functions, but the high level functions that all of you need to know is the ones which are essentially responsible to kind of support in a big way. Now, I have merged many of them within these large functions. The largest one obviously being clinical trial management, which is responsible to manage the entire clinical trial right from its start initiation till the end across the globe, which includes clinical trial supply management, all of the aspects related to the trial. That is a very important department within the drug development organization. The next one is obviously an important one where we're talking about data management. We're talking about looking at all of the data that's coming from the clinical trials, which is required then to kind of submit to the health authority for approval. So there's a lot of analysis that's required in this space, and obviously people who are experienced enough to look at data from a clinical trial perspective and present to the health authorities make a lot of difference in this department. Biostatistics continues to be a very important function within drug development. One of the most difficult places to get experienced people, but people with that passion for both biology and statistics play an important role in all of the statistical analysis that's required to make sure we have the right information before we submit to the health authorities. The other important department is really medical writing, which looks at all of the various reports that we have, whether it's aggregate reports, whether it's the development safety reports. All of that really comes into medical writing. So really, the people who have the knack for quality and compliance play a very important role in ensuring we have the right sets of documents as required by the health authorities in various parts of the world to submit. Pharmacovigilance, as most of you would know, is really the detection, assessment, understanding, and prevention of adverse events and adverse drug reactions. And this has evolved significantly over the last 20 years. I remember when I started my career way back in drug development in pharmacovigilance, the year was 2004, and we were all talking about an important instance which happened that time. Some of you may recollect. It was the time when Vioxx was one of the biggest things in the industry. Now, just to give you some background, Vioxx, or the generic name Rofecoxib, was a drug which was developed by a company called Merck in the early 2000s and launched the market for the treatment of arthritis. And As soon as it was launched, everybody felt this was the wonder drug. Everybody felt that this is the drug which is going to help patients suffering from arthritis. And within the first couple of years, it really became a blockbuster, and everybody saw a lot of benefit with this drug. Unfortunately, in the couple of years' time, we started realizing that this drug was actually responsible for a lot of cardiovascular issues, including heart attacks. And a lot of people actually lost their life because they were using this for a longer period of time, which essentially resulted in billions of dollars of lawsuit on the company which had launched it. And it not only changed the way patient safety was looked at, but it brought in the important element of how pharmacovigilance was very important for every department. This, in my view, is more the modern day pharmacovigilance, where we realize in a couple of years' time that a drug of that potential could also create a significant side effect. And as a result of which, not only did the health authorities become more stringent, but also pharma companies started seeing this as a very important department within the organization, making sure that pharmacovigilance is done globally. And if you look at today's world, with all of the technology that's come in, it's a very established department. And if a situation like Vioxx happens today, I think it will be very easy for the pharmacovigilance department to identify signals and report in real time instead of really waiting for a year or so. So that's how the pharmacovigilance landscape has changed, and especially I would say because of the Vioxx instance, which resulted in not only the death of people but also a lot of financial aspects to the pharma company. So it's really the patient safety that's at the center of whatever we do as far as drug development is concerned. The last one here is really regulatory affairs. Talking about regulatory affairs essentially is really interaction with the health authorities, making sure that the required documentation is in place as far as the drug launches are concerned, but at the same time also having a close oversight on how the drug is behaving in the market. So that's really the high level drug development functions. But there are many smaller newer functions like health economic outcome research and other groups which really fit in within these drug development functions, or in some companies they may be separate organizations altogether. One of the other important elements is real world evidence. We are really talking about how can we actually use a lot of the information that's coming from the real world, which includes hospital settings, or which includes real world evidence from patients, and how can we really use that to not only make drug development proactive but also to ensure that patient safety is not compromised in any way. So real world evidence is continuing to be one of the most important areas as far as drug development is concerned. Now, in my view, having worked in the industry for about 20 years, what I realize is that there are four key elements in global drug development. If you look at on the left side, I'm talking about process. Uh, as you would all know, in a pharma organization, or even for that matter, the global pharma industry, it's very important to have standard operating procedures. It's important to know exactly what the processes are going to be, not only for the people who are joining the organization for them to learn, but also for us to be consistent with what we are doing. Off late, what's happening is, especially in the last 5 6 years, there is a need for us to start relooking at these processes, not only because technology has advanced, but also many of these processes may in today's world be redundant, may not be required. So companies are investing significantly on relooking their processes, relooking at opportunities to improve their process. And that's where the element of Six Sigma and Lean Sigma are playing an important concept. Is, can we relook at the global drug development process? Is there a way we could make these processes more efficient? Are we ensuring that repetitive or redundant processes are being removed? So Six Sigma professionals and even people with good understanding of operational excellence are playing a very important role in taking the processes to the next level. On the bottom, you see I'm talking about technology. And I think many of you would know that we've been talking about technology, especially in the last 5 years, that the way digital transformation is shaping. In my view, digital transformation or technology has been in global drug development for the last 20 years. It had been very slow, to be honest, initially. I remember, again, my first job in pharmacovigilance, where we used to get adverse event reports from various parts of the world. Um, you know, the way it used to work back then was somebody in the US or Europe would send us paper reports. My team in India would then, take out the printouts. It would be entered into a very primitive kind of a safety database, and then it would be submitted manually to the health authority. But those days are gone now. Over the last 15, 20 years, we've got excellent safety databases which have come in, which have brought in the element of artificial intelligence, robotic process automation. Pharmacovigilance is no longer a paper environment. It's almost a paperless environment. Everything is done on the system, which essentially shows that technology has been touching our lives all these few years that have been there. But having said that, I think last 5 years has been phenomenal, not only in the sense of the development of technology, but also in terms of acceptance and implementation of technology. And if you look at from a trend perspective, the next 5, 10 years are going to be even more exciting as far as drug development is concerned, with the advent of many of these technologies, which include Chat GPT and others. We're really talking about how could we bring in the element of augmented artificial intelligence. And I'm sure all of you would agree that drug development requires a level of supervision from human, but technology can play an important role to manage many of the operational activities, whereas the human brain can be used for really the scientific skill and manage the technology. So that's really a very exciting time as far as drug development is concerned. Another important element, and I also touched upon this briefly at the start, is about partnerships. Drug development is not about inventing or coming up with a molecule in silo. It's about really working with different kinds of organizations, be it the clinical research organizations, be it the IT enabled organizations, or some cases niche service provider. How does this partnership work along with ensuring that the drug is developed within a short duration of time? And if there again, there has been a lot of evolution. 20 years back, when outsourcing or when partnerships started, they were very operational, very tactical, in the sense of the pharma company reaching out to the service providers to support them on certain elements of drug development. Today, those partnerships have evolved. Today, we are talking about pharma companies working with CROs like IQVIA to kind of create that end-to-end setup, really bringing in that end-to-end expertise, not only from the perspective of services, but also bringing in the consulting element, bringing in the technology element. And that is an important part of the evolving landscape. No longer the service providers or the CROs are just operational support. They are strategic partners in helping the pharma company come up with drugs in a faster span of time, and also with a lesser cost. So those partnerships have evolved. At the top of all of this in global drug development, in my view, is people. And I'm sure all of you have been hearing talk about technology impacting jobs. The reality is, drug development is such a scientific oriented space that the requirement of scientifically skilled people is always going to be there. From my experience, over the last few years, while we've seen that technology has got involved, there has also been an increase in the upskilling of people. It's not just about having the scientific knowledge now, it's also about having the understanding of technology. And companies are investing significantly in people. They are not only attracting good kind of people, and they are hiring the right kind of people, but they're also looking at how to develop the people, how to really upskill the people, to look at how the overall drug development landscape is changing. And at the same time, there is a need for us to retain these people, because this is a completely scientific area. People who have expertise, if they spend longer time, it helps the organization from an efficiency perspective. And companies are investing to make sure that they retain the right people. One of the important things that has changed in the last 5, 7 years is really the organization cultures, because people have realized that, at the end of the day, people need to have the right culture, the innovative mindset. So we're talking about cultures like the blue culture, where we're talking about, can we ensure that people who are actually doing the job are given more empowerment? There is an opportunity for them to collaborate and really innovate, so that the overall organization benefits. So that change in culture is really helping global drug development move much faster and be more innovative. I covered some of these. If you look at it from the top, I spoke about process. Quality and compliance is a very important part of global drug development. I have been in inspections, and I've faced a lot of inspections during my career, where health authorities have been very clear in terms of their expectations on quality and compliance. They expect pharma companies, CROs, to be almost 100% compliant on quality and at the same time delivering information, for the simple reason that we are dealing with patient lives. And when it comes to drug development, there is absolutely no compromise on the patient safety. So quality and compliance 20 years back was being defined of how it should be measured. Today we are talking about, can the companies be at 100% in terms of quality and compliance, which is challenging. But I think with the use of technology, with the use of operational excellence, and with the right skilled mindset people, we are getting there. Process excellence, I already touched upon. We're talking about how we could bring in operational excellence in whatever we do, whether by the use of Six Sigma or by the use of other operational methodologies. But the objective here is really, how can we make it more efficient in terms of quality, in terms of compliance, and in terms of productivity, so that we could deliver work. For example, in some companies, adverse event reports continue to increase, obviously because they have global reach, and now that volume is increasing at the rate of 10 to 12% annually. How can we bring in that operational excellence mindset so that we could manage all of this additional volume without having to expand the team significantly, is what process excellence is about. If you look at below, we are talking about digital transformation. Technologies, as I said, playing a very important role. I started one of my earlier projects in technology with robotic process automation, and when we started that, it was a very new area, and many people actually were not clear about how this is going to work. This is 7 8 years back, but today we are talking about how machine learning is really helping us in various areas, how we can actually use artificial intelligence, natural language processing, and all of this, in our view, is really about how we can bring in an augmented AI approach. I was reading an article which talks about, the biggest benefit that AI is going to bring in is to healthcare. So far, in the last 10 years, the artificial intelligence has really helped us to lay down the foundation as far as healthcare is concerned. But the next 5 10 years are going to be really exciting of how artificial intelligence can really help healthcare and global drug development in a more effective way. So that's really a exciting time for us to be in. If you look at it from a data analytics perspective, there is tons of data that drug development has, and I'm sure all of you know about big data and how the use of this data is being used. The important element is, are we really analyzing this data in a right way, which is helping us to drive the right trends? And the good news is that companies are investing in this space. Most of the pharma organizations have their uh, dedicated analytics team, which is really looking at how this data can make meaningful sense. How can we come up with better tools which could help us visualize and understand what the data is trying to tell us, and then really be able to take decisions in the interest of patient safety, is what we are trying to do. On the right side, if you see here, I spoke about the impact of people, organization culture, talent management. How are we really making sure we are hiring, developing and retaining the right talent, ensuring that we have the right culture, which allows for collaboration and innovation. That's a lot of investment that companies have been doing over the last few years, and that's going to continue as a trend, because at the end of the day, people are very important to overall manage the drug development process. Outsourcing has been a trend for several years, and this trend is going to continue. Like I said before, pharma companies work extensively with CROs and IT enabled organizations because there is obviously a benefit of working with these companies who have the operational expertise, who can actually help expedite drug development faster and at a lower cost. So outsourcing continues to be happening. One important trend that's been happening is really mergers and acquisitions. Not that mergers and acquisitions were not there in the past, but of late, the merger acquisition activity has increased. Companies are acquiring smaller companies because obviously they want to have a healthier pipeline. There are also, larger companies merging together to create larger entities. Um, there is also an interesting trend last 4 5 years, which I'm seeing, is about spin-offs. Larger companies are actually creating smaller groups so that they can have specialized groups. For example, Sanofi off-spun its entire healthcare system into a new company called Apella. Same thing, I think GSK and Pfizer, the consumer health divisions, got out offspun to create a new entity called Helion. J&J offspun its healthcare business to create Kenvue. So there's a lot of spin-off mergers and acquisitions happening, and that is essentially resulting in more activity in the drug development space, the more need for good quality people, processes, and technology to kind of take it to the next level. If you have been following the news, you would have seen that in 2022, Pfizer acquired Seagen, and everybody thought that this is the big acquisition, 27, $28 billion. But if you look at it, the trend in 2023-24, it's on the upward. 2023 has seen a series of acquisitions. In the last 5 years, the top 10 pharma have really acquired significantly. Almost 50% of the acquisitions have been done by the large pharma. So that acquisition trend is ensuring that, companies are investing in important molecules, be it oncology, be it cardiovascular, but really spending a significant amount of time and money on developing the right molecules. Now, all of this really fits into the one important element of drug development has to be managed within a budget. It's very difficult for us to really say that we have unlimited money to do drug development. There is obviously an element of investment, but there's also a very important concept of how do we really make sure that the budget of drug development is managed in an effective way. So obviously the drug development organizations have teams which manage the portfolio, the budgets, and make sure that all of the departments work in close association with that budget. But as you all know, money plays the important role, and companies are continuing to see how to really use digital transformation, operational excellence, to really manage the budgets overall as far as drug development is concerned. Now, I will quickly go on to some of the important trends that I believe all of you should be aware of, or if you are aware of already, that's good. If you look at it, one of the important thing that's going to happen in the next 5-10 years, and already we've started seeing good examples of this, is really personalized medicine. We're talking about a customized approach to drug developments, which allows the medications and dosing to be more finely adapted to the patient's genome, environment, and prognosis. And as you would imagine, the benefit is really greater efficacy and lesser adverse drug events. And we already have some good early examples, which include the development of trastuzumab for the treatment of HER2 positive breast cancers. And also, if you look at it, the refined dosing of anticoagulant warfarin. This is a trend which is picking up, and in the next few years we will obviously see a lot of advancement in this space. The idea really being that every patient is different, and therefore it's important that we look at medicine and dosing in the right and appropriate way for each patient, and that's really a trend to watch out for. Now, another important trend is really the investment in orphan drugs, and I'm sure you've been hearing about rare diseases conferences, a lot of investment happening in that space. Now, if you see, a rare disease is defined as one that affects fewer than 200,000 people domestically in the US, and in European Union it's really 1 out of 2,000 people, which essentially shows that for a big pharma it was never an area of key focus, because it didn't mean that benefit in terms of bulk production of the medicine and making it available, and obviously the return on investment. But there has been a significant change. There has been obviously a lot of benefits that pharma companies are now getting from the health authorities in the various countries, in terms of incentives in the form of tax credits for the sake of public health. And that has really resulted in a lot of activity. There are companies which are specializing in orphan drugs, even though they do not expect a lot of revenue, because obviously it does not impact a lot of patients. But there's a lot of investment for the simple reason that there is benefit from the government, but also generally companies believe that this is an area to work for. So that trend is going to continue. We will continue to see companies investing in heavily in the rare diseases, because it's an area of opportunity and development for patients. If the pandemic has taught us something, we need to really look at how our clinical trial models are. We've always been having centralized clinical trials, but now we're talking about, can we have decentralized clinical trials which can help us to make sure that the long-term low-risk patient trials, they don't require a lot of clinic visits, but at the same time you get all the information. This will not only lower the barriers to participation, but also result in greater patient interest and retention. And it allows researchers like us to have a larger access to the more diversified population, more data, which then helps us to really draw effective conclusions and trends. So decentralized clinical trials are going to be important. They are continuing to be important, and this is an area to watch out for. uh, the contract research organizations I already briefly touched is an important element of the drug development landscape. Pharma companies have been using them for a while. It shows clearly that more than 60% of the trials are outsourced worldwide. The number is increasing, and these specialized CROs are serving as very important extensions of the drug development team, and they are providing guidance and expertise on design, conduct of drug trials, and also manage areas like regulatory affairs, pharmacovigilance, biostatistics, and data management. So this growing use of contract research organizations, the pharma companies working closely with CROs, bringing that strategic element continues to happen. And now we are talking about contract research organizations not only helping in the drug trials, but also bringing in the technology element, also bringing in innovation, process excellence, and really making sure that the pharma company benefits from the strategic partnership. So that trend continues to evolve. mRNA vaccine development, I think all of you are aware. There is already a lot of talk about this. There's also a discussion happening that we are already having mRNA vaccines in place for the treatment of cancer. This trend is going to continue because at the end of the day, mRNA vaccine development has shown us that it can really help us in the long-term future, and this is a trend for all of us to watch out of how this is going to really play out in the various disease methodologies that we have and how we could really use this to overcome many of these diseases. Biosimilar adoption has become very important in the last 10 years. Biosimilars, as you all know, are the biologic product which is almost the equivalent of a FDA approved product. Now, this is helping the healthcare systems across the globe save significant amount of money. They not only are reducing the healthcare costs, but they're also providing more affordable options, and also it allows companies to invest in a different portfolio. Now, many of the companies are ensuring that they are entering into this space. They are coming up with biosimilars which can help patients to be able to manage at a lesser cost. So biosimilar adoption is continuing to be a very important trend for all of us to watch out for. I already spoke a bit about mergers and acquisitions. Large companies are acquiring smaller pharma companies, biotech companies. There's a lot of activity happening in this space. But at the same time, there's a lot of interest in the venture capital market. A lot of financial companies, who have hitherto not never been involved in pharmaceutical and healthcare are now looking at significantly investing in healthcare because they've realized that there is a lot of benefit in terms of adoption of healthcare technology that can be helpful in this space, and also it helps obviously patient safety in a big way. So venture capital trends are going to pick up, and it's an important area to watch out for. Artificial intelligence in healthcare continues to be evolving. The market is growing significantly at more than 62% average annually, and this is a significant increase. I mean, from $270 million to almost $5 billion as of 2025. This continues to grow not only by integration of smart devices, smart diagnostics, but also ensuring that artificial intelligence, big data, and high performance computing help us to accelerate drug discovery. The entire activity is really how we can accelerate drug discovery, how we could make sure that drugs are available to patients faster with a lesser cost, and at the same time there is a element of collection of data in a more effective way, thereby ensuring patient safety. So that's another trend to watch out for. My last slide really talking about combination therapies. We've spoken about polypharmacy. We've spoken about patients of different patients population having to take multiple drugs. Is there a way we could actually explore novel combinations which can help to get the right therapeutic outcome without drug resistance and also reduce the adverse events? So a lot of companies are investing significantly in looking at combination therapies, especially wherever there's polypharmacy, especially for different population types, and how we could really then make a lot of impact as far as these therapies are concerned. And the last one, which I think all of you would be aware, is drug repurposing. The example being minoxidil, how it was repurposed. There's a lot of interest in this space. we're talking about how we could use the existing drugs for newer indications. And, we already have a fair, good understanding of their safety profile. We know their mechanism. So it becomes very easy for us to then look at what's the next area to go for. And researchers can, help expedite the treatment. Obviously, it takes time. And when I say easy, it doesn't mean it happens overnight, but it takes time to really understand, what the new indication is. But there is definitely a lot of interest in this area of how we could use some of our already approved medicines into newer areas. So that's really the top 10 trends in the industry from a drug development perspective, which I'm sure all of you are aware of or would like to know more about. That was pretty much all from my side. Thank you so much for a patient hearing.
It was nothing short of exceptional, sir. On behalf of SPSR, we really extend our deepest gratitude to you, sir, for delivering such an insightful and engaging session on global drug development trends, challenges, and opportunities. And indeed, your expertise and in-depth analysis in this particular evolving landscape of drug development has provided us with profound more knowledge and understanding of this concept advancing field. Sir, we sincerely appreciate your time and effort. We know you have a very busy schedule, so thank you. Sir, we have concluded some few questions, but and in the last one of the question will be from my side, and let's have first question, sir. How has the shift towards digital transformation impacted drug development processes?
I think it's played a very important role. If you look at and having been in the industry for 20 years, when initially technology or transformation started coming in, people were wary of it. People were not sure if technology or transformation is going to help us. I remember the first safety database which came, people were very concerned if this is going to really be quality and compliant. But over the last 20 years, you can see that there has been a significant shift, significant adoption of technology, and there continues to be adoption of it. So it's not an area where I would say we are fully evolved. We are not as fast as some of the other industries. But if you look at it, for the simple reason that, we have a responsibility towards patient safety, a responsibility towards quality and compliance. We need to also make sure health authorities are on board with that. So there has been a good progress, and next 5-10 years, the progress is going to be even faster if you look at the trends. But there has been good progress. I wouldn't say that we are as fast as many of the other industries, unregulated industries. We being regulated, we are going in the right positive direction. And with the use of artificial intelligence, augmented artificial intelligence, the overall drug development process is going to significantly benefit as we move forward.
Thank you for this detail, sir. We have second question. Sir, can you explain the significance of process excellence in drug development and how companies are implementing it?
Yeah. So to give you an example, many of the processes that we've been following are actually quite old processes. Drug development has been in existence for several years. 50 years, 60 years back, some of those processes are still being followed. Now, if you look at what companies are doing in the last 5-10 years, they've started relooking at those processes. Does a process X really make sense in today's world? With so much of technology coming in, with so much of focus, on different areas. For example, if you look at PV, we have so many new sources of information. In the past, the sources of information were clinical trial or post-marketing or literature. Today, we are talking about social media. We are talking about, various elements that's coming. So how are we really, revamping those processes? Are we making those processes more efficient? Which not only allows us to enter new areas, but also allows us to, look at some of these processes may not make sense in today's world. It's not relevant. So can we remove those processes within the overall process, and can we bring in that efficiency? I remember, I was doing a productivity improvement process, and we realized that, there were some steps which were not required. They were just a repetition of the previous steps which had been done in the previous, set of sections. So when you did a value map, when you looked at the overall, value of the process, you could identify that, there were XYZ processes which were actually not adding value, but were also a continuation of what you had done. So when you remove those processes and you actually try to map the overall process, you realize that there is not only a productivity benefit, but also an efficiency in terms of how the work is done. So there's a lot of investment in that space happening now. I've been a Six Sigma black belt certified person, and I've looked at a lot of these processes, and we've looked at how we can actually revamp these processes to make it more meaningful in the current scenario.
Absolutely, absolutely, sir. Thank you so much with this. We have one more question, that how has the COVID-19 pandemic accelerated the adoption of decentralized clinical trials, and what are its long-term implications?
I think COVID 19 has impacted us in a big way. There have been a lot of negative aspects to that, but there is one definite element about obviously people's awareness about safety has increased. I remember my grandmother, who's 95 years, has never studied pharmacy. She talks about adverse event. I mean, when the COVID-19 happened, and I was giving her some medicines, she said, I would like to know what's the adverse events associated with this. So that's what the learning and experience COVID-19 has brought in. But what's really benefit for the industry is, can we look at newer ways of doing clinical trial? Do we really need patients to be on site to provide all the data that's required from the clinical trial efficacy perspective, or should we actually create newer models where we could actually have patients being able to report in real time from different parts of the world? Now, can a doctor, for example, sitting in Delhi, look at a patient in Mumbai or a patient in Hyderabad and be able to make the same decision? That's really the way we are looking at now from a healthcare and a clinical trial perspective.
Now, sir, one question is from my side, as we work in academics, so we get lots of questions, how to apply approach for pharmacovigilance companies. Although I have many of my friends, they are doing, but this particular keyword pharmacovigilance. So I think there are 1,000 plus participants who have just came with the keyword pharmacovigilance. So what is the? So my question is that maybe they must be getting this, that. What is the one thing, so you look, if you want to hire someone for pharmacovigilance, take it as a fresher. So what will be your take, and what are the things, or what is the knowledge that you would like to find in that person?
Yeah. No, I think one of the things which I really want to share, since we have a lot of participants from India, and also, there is an interest in pharmacovigilance. When I started my career in pharmacovigilance 20 years back, getting PV professionals was a big challenge. I was not from PV, I was from normal pharmacy background, and I was trained by Royal College of Physicians, certified on pharmacovigilance before I actually started training people. At that point of time, we were just hiring people with pharmacology background, because obviously, PV was very new. Today, the good thing is, India is really the hub for pharmacovigilance. If you look at it, whether it's the clinical research organizations, it's the pharma who have set up their global capability centers, IT-enabled organizations. And I was talking to somebody the other day, we must be having about 25,000, 30,000 professionals working only in pharmacovigilance area within India, which is a good thing to see in 20 years time, really 20-fold growth of pharmacovigilance professionals in India. Now, the interesting thing is, now when you look at it, when I'm interviewing people at different levels, now it's not about who knows PV and who does not know PV. Everybody knows about PV, basics about PV. The important thing is, uh, do the people have the right attitude? Do they have the learning agility? Because it's not just about knowing PV, it's also about knowing the technology that's required on PV. It's also about, does the person understand the overall PV landscape? And when I look at people, I also look at, uh, do the people have exposure to the safety database? Do the people have exposure to aggregate reports? So there are a lot of trainings and a lot of development that's required now to really make a career. Back then, 20 years back, it was more knowing about pharmacology and the companies investing in training you and developing you. Even now, the companies do that. But if I were to choose between two candidates, somebody who's already got some amount of experience in PV versus somebody who's not, it's more easy for me to, then upskill the person who already has some experience. So my advice to students would be, now is the digital age. You've got so much of knowledge available everywhere. You've got so many platforms. You've got so many good training institutes with whom you can work to kind of build your skills. The most important thing really is to have that learning agility, build that skills. I always say attitude, skill, and knowledge. That's the three things which I look at. And for somebody to be able to demonstrate that, the person has to demonstrate that he has a strong agility in terms of picking up the various nuances of the processes.
Thank you once again, sir. Thank you so much for answering all the questions. And as we conclude the 83rd SPSR International Webinar on Global Drug Development Trends, Challenges, and Opportunities, we extend our heartfelt gratitude to Mr. Gurpreet Sir for sharing such invaluable insights on this rapidly evolving field. So today's session has provided us with a comprehensive understanding of latest trends in drug development, including digital transformation, personalized medicine, biosimilars, decentralized clinical trials, and AI-driven innovation. So we have also explored key challenges such as regulatory complexities, talent management, outsourcing, and growing role of CROs and mergers and acquisitions in shaping the pharmaceutical industry in the future. It is evident that global drug development is undergoing a transformative shift driven by technology. So, on the behalf of SPSR, we sincerely thank you to Mr. Gurpreet Singh sir for his for guidance and all our participants for their engagement and thought-provoking questions. We sincerely thank all participants, and we are also thankful to our National President SPSR, Dr. Shashi Alok sir, for honoring us with his presence. We recognize and appreciate your commitment, guidance, and we offer our profound thanks for your significant input. I would also like to thank Mrs. Monika Sabharwal ma'am for her pivotal role in organizing this event. We extend our gratitude to all SPSR team members for their collaborative efforts that has broadened our understanding and fostered cooperative learning. We look forward to your participation in future SPSR webinars as we continue to explore groundbreaking topics and foster knowledge sharing in pharmaceutical sciences. Thank you once again, and we wish you all the success in your endeavors. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much, sir. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Bye bye.